Defining a future-ready workforce requires clarity. It is not simply about coding skills, it is about adaptability, cross-sector mobility, and digital literacy embedded across functions. The panel coming up next brings together academic leaders, policymakers, and enterprise executives to examine scalable models for workforce transformation. The session will explore how digital learning modes can be tailored across industries. All right, leaders, on this note, please help me to welcome our very first speaker, Dr. Sanjay Saluke. Let's join our hands together for Dr. Sanjay Saluke, Chairman and MD, Jaru Education. Very, very warm welcome, sir. So happy to welcome you here. Joining us, we have Mr. Nitin Kapoor, Vice President and Head, NSDC Academy, National Skill Development Corporation. Very, very pleased, sir, to welcome you today. We are joined by Ms. Shobha Kapoor, Head Partnerships and Corporate Communications, Ministry of Education. Ma'am, we are very honored to welcome you. Joining us, we have Ms. Pavitra Singh, VP and People Leader, PepsiCo India and South Asia. Very, very happy, ma'am, to honor you. And now, the session being very finely moderated by, please join your hands together for Shravan Shetty, Managing Director, Primus Partners. Very pleased, sir, to welcome you here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the session going to start now. Requesting our moderator to please take the session forward.
So hi all, thanks for being here for this session. Specifically, I think it's become very relevant basis what news we've seen in the past 1 week, where there have been a lot of development when it comes to Claude and Claude Code, and the whole question of what supports the software industry has gone for a toss. So I think it's an interesting time for us in terms of defining the future workforce, and probably that's a cue that we can take, and would be good to understand how each one of you looks at the future workforce. Starting with you, Pavitra, how do you see that? How does Pepsi look at it?
Okay, hello everyone, nice to be here. So I think I'll give a very corporate lens here because I'm the only corporate one here. But, I think a lot has changed when I just look at it from a corporate lens. The consumer that we sell to has changed. The way of selling has changed, right? The channels have changed. When I look at employees and employer, the relationship and the contract has changed. So, there is so much of change that we see around us. And one realizes that, when you look at the future of skilling, what you possibly did a few months ago perhaps is also already irrelevant in the world that we're getting into, And therefore, how do organizations think differently? And how do we rewire and build that future ready? So everybody's talking about, yes, digital workforce. Absolutely, that's table stake today. You do need to work along with AI. Everybody's talking about that. But I think more importantly, the skills that we are trying to look at today is adaptability, and resilience. Because, curveballs keep coming. GST came, tariffs came, XYZ. So something or the other will constantly hit you. How is my workforce adaptable? Resilient first, and then adaptable to these ongoing changes. So I think that's something that, we are trying to kind of build in our future workforce. The second, we've all talking about AI, but I think this whole human-centric approach, the softer skills, because AI will give you all the data analysis, but how do you interpret them? Judgment, decision-making, all that is really, upon leaders and how well you do that. So I think, and bringing in the softer skills in terms of empathy, and collaboration, I think those are pieces that have become increasingly important, and that's what stands leaders, good leaders to great leaders. So I think these are some things that we're really focusing on as we're looking at a future-ready workforce.
Thanks. Nitin, from your experience at NSDC, how do you see this panning out?
Thank you. We sit at the epicenter of skilling, if I put it that way. And for us, the whole idea of bringing industry and academia together is very critical. So when we look at skilling, it's not just about excelling from a domain perspective. It is excelling from a transferable skill perspective, because the speed at which it is changing, it's all about upskilling right now. So it's no longer about something that you have up on your resume and it will last you a lifetime. Every knock out there in the industry is looking at something different, something new. and how ready are we is where we see it. So for us, Future Ready is about bringing academia, industry, and the individual all together, complementing each other and working towards a common goal.
So Shubha, from a ministry point of view, given that there are more than 1 million people coming into the workforce on a yearly basis, how do you look at the workforce of the future?
I think I would agree with Pavitra as well as Nitin as well. What I would little bit modify the term will be, instead of future ready, we should be future resilient. It has to be changes. There will be changes, and the kind of agility, like Pavitra mentioned, as well as the kind of nimbleness that we need from the young people and us as well. We have to be having continuity in learning. It's not that I've taken one skill, one course, I've done my training, now I'm there. That'll last long in currently dynamic environment for about, let's say, a year or 2 years at max. But smaller, bite-sized micro courses or micro skilling, that is going to continuously help, I think, the workforce. In terms of really AI as being looked at as, I would say, the next big monsters, the way we had 90s, computers will come and then, they're going to be 80s, they're going to replace all of us humans. AI is not going to replace humans. Eventually, we need to know how and how best we need to work with AI for the benefit that we are looking at.
Thanks, Shubha. Well put. So, Sanjay, given your experience of looking at it online and seeing how it's developed over the years, how do you see this going forward?
Yeah, I fully agree with all the speakers, what they spoke about resilience and all the points for that matter. See, basically now everybody has understood that we have to be perpetual learners. Every 2-3 years you have to upskill, reskill, otherwise we are gone. And I'll give a good example. Even this NEP 2020, the government of India has done good work by putting the online degree diplomas at par with the conventional degree diplomas. Now, why so? Basically, the content for online and full-time is same. The faculties are same. The pedagogy is same. The curriculum is same. Then why differentiate? And second factor was the government of India wants to achieve the higher education gross enrollment ratio of 50% by 2035, which is currently around 29-30%. It's a huge task. So this online will also help. And before NEP 2020, the corporate world was also a little skeptical about online. Isme dam hai kya? Quality hai kya? Right? But now they started realizing that yes, this is online interactive sessions, not that, okay, it's recorded. So the success rate for the IIT IIM programs, for the audience to know, it is as good as 95-96%, which even we never dreamt. We started our journey, Jaro Education started a journey 16 years before. We were the initial player those days. But we could visualize, we could understand. Now, third factor was pandemic. Pandemic, people learned work from home. Then why not learn from home? And the working professionals want to learn from wherever they're located, whenever they want to, affordable and quality. Quality is same, affordable. Now, full-time MBA program, supposing it's costing 20 lakh rupees. Online is just 2 lakh rupees. Why? Because the faculty is teaching maybe 100 or 200 or 300 for that matter. And what they did, the institutions, when we suggest them for that matter, they have doubt solving on weekends. A working professional is happy. He's saying, I can learn. Earlier days, people, old time I'm talking about, when I did my MBA and I worked with Tata's and other companies, if you have to grow, because every year appraisal, I'm being a part of HR, everybody wants increment, तो obvious मिलता है हर साल, promotion every year. Everybody wants to become an MD of a CEO of a company, but how would they? Right. So I used to tell them that go to evening batches and classes in Mumbai, Bajaj or Wellinger or Narsim Monji. They said, no, but I'm in second shift, I cannot go. So this has been made very easy by the online part, for that matter, right? And globally, it is not only India. The EdTech and the digital learning market globally currently is around $250 billion US. We never imagined that. And it is expected to be crossing $400 billion US by 2030. I'll tell you the TAM of India, the total addressable market of India. In 2023, it was 13,200 crore, which is expected to be 41,450 crore by 2028. The CAGR growth rate of 25.7%. So there's huge scope. Now, why EdTech failed and why EdTech companies did, what I don't understand. I don't want to get into that topic. But we believed in value creation and then valuation. We never jumped into valuation as an organization. We never jumped into top line triples 4 times, 5 times. But look at the bottom line. एक न एक दिन bottom line तो आना ही पड़ेगा ना. So that's how the thing had been. Government of India also through Viksit Bharat and all, it's doing good work because we, that Viksit Bharat 2047, NPTL has played a good role. Even Swam app as a platform has played a good role. We as an organization are contributing. Our programs are free for the masses on Geo platform. Right? So we should do the Padegi India to Badegi India.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
Perfect,
you.
Sanjay. Well put. So Nitin, primarily what we've seen is for the future workforce, we would require new models to be put in, specifically where it's not just from a government point of view, but somewhere where private players also play a equal role. So from your experience of how a private-public partnership can work in this space.
See, so the very fact that, National Skill Development Corporation was created, we are under the aegis of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, but we are a public-private partnership. So which gives us this flexibility, not just from our end outside, but from outside in also, where global organizations, private Indian organizations, academia, everyone can come together. And like you rightly said, newer things are required. So there are conscious efforts on one hand, addressing the aspirations of, say, Tier 2, Tier 3, at the same time leveraging the expertise of some of the institutes of national importance. How can they become knowledge partners? And most importantly, at this crossroad, we are bringing the industry a step earlier. When I go and interact with industry leaders, एक बहुत common interaction is, Nitin, आप लोग कुछ भी करते हैं, I still need to put in 90, 100 days to get him job ready. So we said, okay, let's do this. Why don't we get them in earlier? So that they are now very much part of the curriculum that's been put together. They are part of the whole arrangement of that skill and that upskilling which is needed. And these kind of initiatives are now rolling out across with support of the government and the industry alike. So, yeah. Thank you.
Pavitra, would you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think as corporates, we have realized that we have to work with the ecosystem, right? If you're looking at, building the nation, I think corporates have a huge, huge role to contribute and do their bit. A year and a half ago, we started this program called Revolutionary, which is about really empowering 1 million women in 1,000 days, right? And when we started that, it started with gap identification, saying that, okay, why am I not getting women in my, supply chain and sales organization? We have a large footprint of manufacturing. And then when we peeled the onion a little bit and we understood that people are not even aware. So it starts with really, before skilling, are people even aware of the kind of new jobs and roles that are available? So we started with really building awareness, Tier 2, Tier 3, tying up with the ITIs to really start building that awareness. The second was, okay, now that you know and you are keen, let's skill them, right? And therefore, the focus on skilling. We've had ecosystem partnerships like the Wadhwani Foundation, where we really worked with them, partnered with them to provide upskilling opportunities. So you spoke about job ready. So, really job ready, job fit. How do we make them, really fit, not just for us, but anybody else who'd like to hire. And the third step was really providing, enabling them with employment opportunities. So for example, we have a plant coming up in the Northeast. So we tied up with the ITI saying that we will skill, and make sure that, people who are skilled, we will make them employable in our factories, right? And the others could possibly be employable to our network. So I think that's something that we can do. And, other than this, of course, working with a lot of other ecosystem partnerships like, Mrida Foundation, Fixi, to kind of make sure that at the grassroots level, we are creating, and enabling employment opportunities.
Shubha, you want to
I think I'd just add that while we are making it all future ready, future resilient, we should not leave behind a lot of us who are left behind because of lack of resources or lack of physical abilities or anything. I think it needs to be inclusive. And when we think about from policy to implementation, we should be thinking from bottoms up as well, because the responsibility lies amongst all of us in the room to really push the bottom to the up. And continuity, I would continuously focus on, should be the key focus as well.
Now, everybody talked about job readiness. So that's what exactly we are focused on. What we do is we do business intelligence. We study the industry report, domestic and international industry report, and we see where the skill gap, for that matter. That analysis is done. We learn from the corporate world what kind of programs are required by the corporate executives and managers to become C-suite level executives, right? After doing that, we submit that report to the IIT and IIMs, and we say this should be the learning outcome, this should be the fees, this should be the TG, whether junior level, middle level, or senior level. This is your duration for that matter. They develop the program. After they develop the program, no doubt, they being IIM and IITs, it's their IP, intellectual property. They give it to us, and they say, now get the learner. So that's our job, is to get the executives from the corporate world, give tech support. So we have our own studios inside the IIM campus. IIM Ahmedabad 2, IIM Trichy 5, like 17, 18 studios are there in various IIMs for that matter. We provide the technology support like LMS, the learning management system, over which the interactive sessions happen, right? So we try to give the programs which ensure the growth of the corporate executive and managers. At the same time, now, as I mentioned on Geo, our programs are available free for the masses, right? And that's why the even NEP 2020 helped the education to democratize. It was earlier a monopoly of the metros to have good faculties and all. But because of this, the digital learning for that matter, the tech advancement, now the people in Begusarai or Gwalior, Jabalpur, Satara, Kolhapur, Sholapur, or somewhere in Varanasi can attend the IIM and IIT faculty lectures. And they're very happy. They don't have to leave their hometown, don't have to go away from their parents or from the whatever business they're doing. Being in those locations like Lucknow and all that, also they can do IIM and IT programs. That's the help of the online programs, right? And one thing we have to understand that, see, there's always a debate happening between the industry and the institution. Industry says the grads are not employable. Institutes are saying my grads are employable. Now where is the gap? So we need to have all the programs which are industry oriented. And that's why the teachers have to be sent to the corporates. Our unfortunate part, we do respect all academicians for that matter, whether you're PhD or MBA or BTech or MTech, have you worked in the industry? Then you understand what industry requires from these grads, and then you can teach. So last time I gave a suggestion to the UC chairman also, that your MBA students also, who are doing full-time MBA, they go only for 2 months for internship. In 2 months, what do you learn? Where is the canteen? How is the hierarchy? How many departments? What products? Over. You come back. They should be like an engineering grad inside the engineering institute. Like when they go on the internship, six months. So 1 year they do. And that's why chartered accountants are in demand, because they do articles for 3 years. You work in the business, learn the business. Then you are employable. Who says you will not be employable? So now a request to the government of India would be, send the faculties like for 4 months, 5 months in a year in the industry. Let them understand what is required, and then they can come. I'll give a good example. I may take little time. IIM Ahmedabad faculties are on the board of companies. Every 3 months they sit in the board meeting. They learn how the fight happens between the sales and manufacturing and cash flow problem, cash flow negative and all that, supply chain issue. They learn that and they take back to the classroom and give it. So the education institution classroom has to become boardroom, right? Then you will get the best of the best quality. And I'll give you a good example. Everybody has understood now we have to be jack of all and master of your own domain, the way I said. So we suggested the programs to IIMs and IITs on all those areas. The days are gone. This is not my job. That is not no. So you have to do everything. And the entrepreneurs also should have to learn that you have to stick to your value system. Don't take shortcuts for growth. Your juniors are watching you. One day they will tell you, boss, what you did, how you grew, I know. Right? So the leaders have to first learn and carry on like that. So the way I said, teachers have to be sending to the industry. But do something. When the vacation is here, that time they should be sent to the industry, learn, go in the departments, and then I think, sir, you are giving good smile. But that's the reality. So I worked in the corporate. Then that's why I understand how and what should be given to the executives. So no doubt, AI and everything is there. That will definitely affect, but that will improve the productivity. That will, earlier when typewriters were there, computers came, typewriters gone, laptops came, mobile came. And now it's keep on going to change. Change is only permanent, right? I stop here, otherwise I'll go on. Yeah.
No, thanks.
It's yours only.
But, so probably now, Shobha, to use, and myself being an alum of IIM, I can say that government's done a great job there when it comes to IIMITs. But how do you see, given the rapid change that's happening, how could we democratize this to a larger scale where we come up with, I think we're very good at following, where we've been having a lot of follow-up innovation happening, follow-up solutions coming at scale for us. But how could we get ourselves to be creators, where we are going to see more of entrepreneurship, more of new companies coming out of? So how does the ministry look at that? And I know there are few initiatives that are going on in that. So.
Absolutely. And I think platforms like Diksha, Samarth, which are mass platforms for children and students across the country, those help as well. I mean, I'll give you a small example. There is a digital library in the country that exists, which is called as Rashtriya Pustakalaya, right, which is from the ministries, and it does not include any textbook. So when you have to read about other parts of the country or leadership or other soft skills, it is in 22 languages. The books in there is for 22 languages. We need to also think about this lateral learning as well, while we continuously talk about skilling and technical education and formal learning as well. The non-formal learning plays much larger role, and that is where I feel public-private partnerships helps a lot as well with the academia. And whenever we create, I think the onus of platforms like Jaro or other platforms as well, the onus is largely around having everybody in the room when the academics are being created. While you map yourselves to the government frameworks and the government policies, it is also very important to know the kind of need for skill force that's coming up in the future as well. So let's say corporates need to be there, the skill councils need to be there. While we have people on the platforms, we need people in the rooms, right, as well, who can bring in that experience as well. It is also very important to include CSOs in that room, because there are a lot of CSOs who are working on the ground and really working with the youth from the rural side as well as urban side as well. So that will also help bridge a lot of gap as well.
Thanks. So Nitin, you want to add to that from your experience?
See, so I completely, echo what she just mentioned. There is a need where we cannot just focus on the education and skill part and, miss out on the larger universe. Because the speed at which everything is moving, the agility to be able to adapt to what's happening at that speed is very critical. It's almost become like a trend to put in a line in any job description saying candidates should have entrepreneurial mindset. Honestly, it's not about saying he needs to be an entrepreneur. It's about the ability and, what Sanjay was also saying, be able to do everything across, to own it actually. Now, interestingly, if you go back, and some of us who've been in the industry for long would realize, but that's exactly what was always said. So where did we actually lose it? So the idea is we adapt to technology, we move with the changes, but it's very important we don't leave the human behind. At the end of the day, it's the human who needs to now work with it in tandem.
Pavitra, if you would want to add something, given that Pepsi, I know, has got a lot of CEOs coming out of Pepsi, so there definitely is a good structure out there. So something you would add on that. How do you get that entrepreneurial spirit out?
We take pride in being a factory of leadership, but I think the whole entrepreneurial spirit, like he said, the founder's mentality, right? You talk about that. Again, it has to be ingrained as a part of the way you do things. It's not something that you really teach people. I think it comes with how things around you. It's like culture, no? When you say, tell me what is culture, you walk into a boardroom, you will pick up what culture is by the way people talk, the feel, the smell, how people interact. So it's exactly like that, right? Ownership is like that. And I think one of the philosophy of how we've groomed our talent is really about giving critical experiences, right? Move into uncomfortable roles, okay? Get into a fix-it assignment, okay? And don't penalize people. So how do you create safety nets? So if people are taking a tough assignment, we all know it's a tough one. Will you penalize the person if it doesn't happen, or will you give enough safety nets, right? So I think that those are some of the things, rewarding failures, okay? Yes, you can fail, but learn from that failure, move on in life, right? That's how. So you have to look at it end to end in terms of the kind of culture that you're creating for this entrepreneurial spirit to come alive, right? Right from policies, practices, your reward and recognition, all that really matters. That's how we've looked at it.
Just adding to what she said, actually we do have a clear example. If we see NEP, which was announced and started to implement in 2020, the kind of pace that we've had, and multiple states are in the forefront, and I think Meghalaya is there, so Sampath is here with us today, but and we'll get a chance to hear from him directly, but we look at states like Meghalaya to really, which are actually spearheading the entire NEP movement. The way Meghalaya has connected education to health, to skilling, to multiple domains of human growth. I think that's the kind of thinking that needs to be inspiring for all of us in multiple states as well.
Thanks, Shubha.
The example Pavitra gave, I liked it. You failed. What is wrong in failing, right? And the problem with the corporate world, a lot of you must have worked in the corporate world a lot. The seniors are worried if the junior who is giving an interview is smarter than him. Will he select? Bolta mera chair lega. You should have juniors who will take your chair, then only you will grow up the ladder, which is very rarely understood at director level. I'm sorry to say it, because I worked in the corporate world. I mean it, right? So that's why we should encourage failures. I mortgaged my house thrice in the business, right? So people said, hey, come on, man, go to the corporate world. You write articles and you get so many job offers in Hong Kong, Singapore, and all that. I said, no. When you drive a car, if you look at only rear view mirror, you will dash. Aage dekho, straight. Don't look behind. Enter the dragon. And then you are successful. Why it take this all failure? Because valuation, but funding. You are skin in the game. हम लोग mortgage करते हैं घर पे भी, not skin, body in the game. So that is where the success will come. Now we are working, I will not name the IIT, but we are working with IIT for a data science AI ML program for grade 8 to 12th. Now if you start grooming, tech is required. You need to have knowledge of all the functions, HR, marketing, finance, everything. I'll give another good example. So we are developing in that program very well. And that's a top-notch IIT. I'm sure the children are going to get benefited, and it will be very economical. Just 25,000-30,000 rupees for 35-40 hours of learning. And select few will be called to there to see the AI lab, right? So that kind of efforts when we put, and Government of India is doing wonderful work. The NEP 2020, Viksit Bharat 2047, they're doing their best, which was not happening earlier. Now the job of the private sector also, how to support the institutions to make job-ready students. Even we will have to shoulder something of that sort for that matter, right? So we last some 3-4 years before we suggested a program to IIM Trichy on healthcare management. They said, successful hoga, it's a niche area. We said, we are confident, and your track record is good, our track record is good. Because we work with IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Trichy, IIM Nagpur, IIM Kozhikode, IIM Indore, IIM Bombay, IITs, IIT Madras, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, Ivy League, Wharton Business School, and so many. So we have confidence and we have done good work. We gave them some 93, 94 learners when they wanted only 50 or 60. And I was just giving a talk on healthcare management. And I saw 27 doctors, medical professionals. It was a shock of my life. It's a management program. They went to healthcare. And I asked one doctor, now you are going to be in the OT, operation theatre, or you will be handling the finance. He too answered me, Dr. Salunke, I was in OT doing operations, and where the money gone, I don't know. So now I want to learn not only finance, I want to learn, because I want to start my hospital. I want to learn HR, recruitment, right? I want to learn marketing, branding. So now when IT people have realized if they have to start an organization, they will have to learn from the knowledge of functions, all the functions in the company, not only your own domain. That you have to be master of, but jack of all. So we also have to groom our school children on those lines, right? Fail, fail. I'll give a good example without naming the community. I had gone for a marriage. So my friend's daughter was getting married. So I said, what the boy does? So he said, if you here, you will run away from here. I said, why? He said, 3 businesses sunk. And I said, you have guts to marry your daughter with him. He said, that is our culture. But I'm a Maharashtrian. Ab Maharashtrian bolega to nahi. Bolega bankrupt hua tha. No, no, no. So that we'll have to inculcate in our children. That failure kya hota hai? Failure is the best teacher. Right? And I said, sorry, I will let go on otherwise.
No, it's just, thanks, Sanjay.
Learning from experience, and sometimes we also feel that giving back to the society is required. That's why my appeal to all the corporate, all of you is take out time, some Saturday, Sunday, or some bank holidays, educate the masses, educate the Padegi India to Badegi India. Right? So we'll have to do something on those lines. Not only take finance. So I'm also making a module on financial modules for the school, entrepreneurial models for the school. तो उनको बचपन से पहले क्या होने का एक फॉर एग्जाम्पल स्वीट शॉप है किसी का वो बेटे को बोलता है बेटा गले पे बैठ. Now once he sits down there, he will understand supply chain, how to talk to a customer, marketing, finance, everything he will learn. Right? Real life example. So similarly, if you start educating from the beginning, from the schooling itself for that matter, I think where the India's future will be.
Thanks, Sanjay. Thanks for that. But yeah, I'm just in thinking about the time that we've already shot in. So just if we could get in the last word from each one of you, and then we could kind of close it at that. Starting with you, Pavitra.
Last word, I think, like everybody's been talking about, we have to stay relevant. And if you have to stay relevant in tomorrow's world, you have to continuously keep learning. So unlearn, learn, right? I think that's the only mantra that I will say, that just keep learning, keep growing. And yes, as he rightly said, keep giving back as well, because there's a lot of, experience that we carry. Give back and also take back and learn from the youngsters, because the youngsters have a lot to teach us. So it has to be mutual.
Way forward, everyone needs to get in together. I feel one of the challenges, and that's also the possibilities, is everyone's waiting for the other to start. Please come in, academia, industry, edtech players, partners, government's taken the first step. It's important now that everyone comes in together. It happens when everyone moves in together, and that's where I would leave it at for this evening.
Thanks. I think what I will say is, on his comment that is EdTech failing, not failing, it's a topic for debate, but in my perspective, EdTech is not failing at all. I think we are a country which is really progressing on that domain, and if it's failing, if some of the EdTech players have failed, it has given learning to the new and budding entrepreneurs as well on what not to do and what to do. So whatever's happening, it was great. I mean, personally, if you detach it. The other piece which I will say is, while we are looking at young leaders to really also kind of, spearhead the youth, inspire the youth, we need these young leaders and legacy leaders as well, or generational leaders as well, to really bring out their journey and bring out their skills that in the public as well, instead of just boardrooms or just, within their own corporates as well. So that's one thing. The third key thing, I think, for me is linked on the softer side will be, when we talk about health, we should also talk about mental health as well. That is one big key we should be focusing on when it comes to youth and skilling. The second piece is regarding the entire bringing in more and more women to the workforce. That is going to be the biggest, I would say, the nuts and bolts that needs to be fixed. And with that, what is our care economy that we are all kind of gearing up towards, and how each of the players are going to contribute towards that. It's not about monetary contribution. It's about what you are committing to make it up to the next level of GDP to enable the best of the care economy from both rural and urban. I'm not saying just urban.
Thanks. Sanjay, last word.
My meaning was not EdTech is failing. EdTech companies have failed. EdTech as a concept is super duper hot. As I mentioned, current EdTech and digital learning market size globally is $250 billion US, and it is going to be by 2030 $400 billion US. So the industry is evergreen. education, like healthcare, is evergreen industry. The companies did not do good work. I don't want to name Byju's and all those, but then they have to be. Sorry, I named by mistake. Yeah, sorry. So basically, you Pavitra mentioned about women to be in the lead. I'll give a good example. Our own company. We're small, but small is beautiful. My CEO, she is Ahmedabad alumni, and she did the program through executive education in 2017-18. After the program, she got 2 promotions in 4 years, for 18 years in the company. My CFO, 15 years in the company. My VPHR, 19 years in the company. The company is 16-year-old, but why 19 years? Because he was another group company. I just got him into education. My VP sales, there are 2 seniors, one 16 years, one 17 years. Your top management team, if you cannot return, you are not an entrepreneur. Right? And that's why I said, as a leader, no doubt, we give vision, mission, objective, goals, everything. But at the same time, listen to the ideas. You mentioned, I think, you mentioned in between. Listen to the ideas of the juniors. They may have brightest ideas than what we have. Right? But our ego is bigger. So we hardly, you keep quiet. You open the door. Make them super duper thinker. And your company is sure short successful. Today, what I'm doing in my company, nothing. Thumb impression. The mission, vision given, objective goals given. Everything is run by the team. When your team is strong, your future is done. So the way I said, my CEO ma'am is a lady, and we have, I don't know, blessings of Goddess Saraswati, Goddess of wisdom and knowledge. We have max women managers. Maybe because women are listened carefully and respected. Guys sometimes, talk something rubbish. I'm sorry, but we are all guys. So maybe that is one factor. Right? And my mother, when I was young, was talking about like Sanjay said, pray Goddess Saraswati and so on for that matter. So I think there are a lot of examples. So in academia world also, performer perish has to go. Why in only corporate world? The way, it cannot be morning 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Right? The way corporate guys slog, let the teachers slog. And then the children will learn a lot. It will be fantastic.
Just adding it last bit, I think IITs, while they're all great, and we have great workforce coming out of them, with all due respect, I think we need more and more workforce from ITIs as well, so that those can also be leading up the ladder as well.
Thanks on that last word. Thanks all. It was a great discussion and a lot of points covered. I think we're just out of time. So you can, of course, meet the panel afterwards. Thank you.